Pigments from the kitchen. For this video, we're going to look at how you can create a multitude of colors from different things you can find in your kitchen. But red cabbage is magical. With red cabbage, what's amazing about it is once you boil it down, it creates a base that allows you to get a variety of colors. So you want to boil it down so it becomes a deep purple. And once it's done, pour it out into a container. Keep one as a control and then pour off 2 other ones. In the middle one here, I'm pouring in vinegar, and vinegar is going to make it a nice vibrant pink. In the third one, I'm going to add baking soda, and because it's a base, it has a different reaction, and it's going to create a wonderful blue-green. But you can play with the concentration of the baking soda and create a lot of different colors. So here you can see the purple of the original, the bright pink of the one with the vinegar, and then the bluish green from the one with the baking soda. It really is magic. One thing can generate 3 very different colors. A solid, nice dark red comes from boiling down beets. And once you boil them down, similarly, you pour off the water and you get a bright red. If you want a warm, constant yellow, you can use soy sauce. In addition to soy sauce, you could use the skins of an onion, boil them down, drain off the water, and you'll have a nice yellow. Add a little baking soda and you're going to get a nice warm orange. You can also use dry spices, turmeric, paprika, garam masala, and that will also create a pigment. So the first thing I want to do is I want to just come in and start establishing some of the details of my drawing. I'm going to come in first with the beet because that's a more concentrated one. I am going to be using paintbrushes, but if you want to use some of the art making, mark making tools that you created, you can go ahead and use those. I'm just using these because I have them available. So the first thing I want to do is just sort of outline some of my details here. And you can see that the beets are pretty concentrated. That color is a nice rich red. So I just want to start establishing some of the details in the picture so that you can sort of make out what it is. Sort of somewhere between a cat and a wolf. We'll see what comes up as I finish it. So I'm just going to finish outlining this with the beets. Okay. And if I add a little bit of water, I can get like a nice soft pink. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to this, and I'm going to just feed in a few lighter pink tones. And again, you can see that of course the water has it running a little bit more, so you can use it sparingly because, you know, wet next to wet is always going to run, and you're going to get the best concentration of color if you're working directly on the dry paper. But I just wanted to lay a little pink in there. I can also dry my brushes and then pull things down with a dry brush, and that will add a little bit of color there. Okay, so I'm going to come in there. I want to pull some of that extra moisture off of the eye area and the nose area, so it'll dry a little bit faster. And again, just as with working with the coffee or the tea, you're gonna get richer color if you let it dry and then add a second layer. So this first layer, I'm just gonna start laying in some bases of color. Now I'm gonna come in and I wanna add some of the green. So maybe I'll start around the nose, adding a little bit of green there. A little bit over the eyes. Okay. And the ears, and then I'm going to use the bluish green, and I'm going to come in and I want to just add a little bit of distinction there to show the inside of the eye and a little bit above it. And again, I'm just working right now with some washes, but I do want to make sure that I leave a little bit of the white of the page because that sort of punctuates the color a little bit as it gives it contrast. And I'm drying off my bristles so that I can sort of control how much running the color is doing. And as I feel it is running a little too much, I'm just wiping down my brushes and I'm just coming in and cleaning that up. So I think I want to put a little bit of this light pink here around there, and you're going to see that as it mixes with that green, it creates like a little violet tone. So it's kind of nice to see how they interact with each other because the bases and the alkaline aspect of the vinegar and the baking soda create some interesting effects. So I'm going to come in here with the initial concentration of the beet, and I want to just put a little shadow in the ear, shadow in the ear, and maybe add a little bit of shadow in the nose, just a little bit there, you know, layering it on there. Okay. And maybe the little dots where the whiskers would go. Alright. And I'm going to wait until it dries, and then I'll paint in the whiskers because I don't want to do wet on wet with the whiskers or they're not going to have distinction. So the way that it works is if it's wet next to wet, it's always going to be a little bit softer, and you might want that look for certain things, especially if you're just establishing the base colors before you go into the detail. But then as you come in to try and describe more defined line, you really want it to be wet. So I'm going to like pause this here and I will let it dry, and then I will come into it and start bringing out some of those details after it's dried. Alright, so I'm going to just add one more layer of dark just to bring out the area around the eyes and a little bit in the brow, and then I'm going to consider this done.